Hey everybody, this is Joe Payne with the Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Department, here again with another music lesson, this time on the ukulele. Now, this might look a little big for a ukulele. It's because it's a baritone ukulele. It's not the typical soprano or concert ukulele that most people see, but a baritone. So a baritone ukulele is actually the same as a guitar, the last four strings of a guitar. It's basically a guitar minus two strings. So the strings are D, G, B, E. D, G, B, E. Okay? Now we're gonna start really simple today. I want to just do two chords, and believe it or not, you can play a song with just two chords. So on the baritone ukulele, and here's the thing, if you have a soprano uke or another type at home, don't be discouraged. The chord shapes that I'm going to play, you can still play, they're just going to be different chords. But I like to teach my students the relationships between these chords, so hopefully it'll all make perfect sense. So we're going to start with a G major chord here on the baritone ukulele. On a soprano it would be a C major chord. Now the G chord uses the fourth, third, and second string open, and the first string on the third fret with the ring finger. See that? So this chord involves just one finger. I would use the ring finger on the third fret. Generally speaking, we use each finger on each fret. Pointer finger on the first fret, middle finger on the second, ring finger on the third, pinky on the fourth when we're in open position. But it's not always the case, as we're about to see. But right now, it's good to use your ring finger on the third fret of that first string, E, to make the G chord. You can see if I get my fingers out of the way, it's just the first string here, the rest are open. But it's good to keep your fingers curved and over the string. Now, the other chord's a little more complicated. It uses three fingers, okay? The D7 chord starts with the middle finger on the second fret of the D, pointer finger on the first fret of the B, and ring finger on the second fret of the E. Kind of like a triangle, I see it, with the point up here. And these two make the flat side. And notice when we move from D7 to G, you can just slide your ring finger up and lift these two. And this is D7. This is a seventh chord, often it's really called a dominant seventh chord, but we just call it D7 most of the time. If you're playing the soprano ukulele, it will be G7. So on the baritone, we have G, D7, G, D7. On the soprano uke, you can play these same shapes, but it's going to be C, G7, C. Now, why would that be? Well, really quick, if this is a G chord, and we're going to D7, well, let's just say we're in the key of G, because we are. G is number one now, so you should count. G, the musical alphabet uses A through G, so once you get to G, if you go up a note, you're at A, then B, then C, and then D. So D is the fifth of G. So when you're playing G chord, you're playing a 1 chord. You play the D7, you're playing a 5 chord. Very important. The 1-5 relationship in music. We often call this the tonic and the dominant. That's their name. The 1 chord is tonic, the 5 chord is dominant, because it's a domineering sound to take us back to the tonic. Dominant, tonic, okay? And the same thing on your soprano uke. If this chord is a C chord, then D, E, F, G is the fifth. So this is how you can play songs in any key you want. You just got to learn your chords and learn the relationships. So the song we can play with this is an old classic folk tune called Down in the Valley. And we're going to learn a rhythm too. And this is a 3-4 rhythm. What does that mean? Well, that means we're going to count 3 beats. And the 4 means we're going to count a quarter note for each of those beats. And that's just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A quarter note is 1 beat in the rhythm, okay? So a 3-4 rhythm with the G chord and the D7 chord could sound like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Notice I'm just strumming down with my fingernails. You can use your thumb if you want the softer sound with the ukulele, right? But let's make it a little more interesting. With 3/4, it's fun to just play the first string and then strum for beat 1, and then strum on beats 2 and 3 like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, G7, or sorry, that's D7. D7 goes back. First we hold it a little longer. 1, 2, back to G. Hear that? So we can use this rhythm, this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 rhythm to play classic folk song Down in the Valley. So it goes like this. You start on G. Down in the valley, valley so D7 low. Hang your head over, hear the wind G blow. So hear that simple 1-2 chord song. Hear the wind blow, dear. Hear the wind D7 blow. Hang your head over, hear the wind blow. So that is how you can use just 2 chords to play a classic American folk song. And again, it's G and D7. And remember, that's the 1 and the 5 chord. G, A, B, D, C. Or if you're on the soprano uke, C, D, E, F, G, the C and the G7. G and D7. That's your tonic and your dominant. 1, 5. Very important if you want to be a strong musician. You got to know your 1 and your 5 chords. You got to know your tonics and your dominants. And then you can play all kinds of songs all you want. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more.